Hello my fellow chatterers and book lovers, anyone else who's popped in because you're curious about what this is or you have got a bit lost. Welcome everyone, I'm Chatty, this is my channel Chatty the Mad Chatter, and I'm going to be chatting away madly about books I have hauled from March to May 2024. So I thought I'd start off this video in the garden just because it's really nice. It's sunny, so it's just nice to be out here, but I'm not going to continue because having to haul a load of books out would just be a lot of aggro. But I just wanted to sit in the sun for a little bit and just have a bit of a chat. So I'm going to be talking about the books that I have earned. So that is where basically when I haul books, I put them under my bed and then I encourage myself to be able to get the books out and put them on my shelves when I can actually read them by doing a mixture of healthy things. So that can be to do with diet, it can be with like good mental health habits and just good physical health habits, so to encourage me to try and be more healthy. Sometimes it works better than others, but that is the intention. I'm also going to be talking about, I spoke about two books that I had from the Read What You Own challenge, and I mentioned there were two other books that I hadn't quite felt able to haul as of that point. So I did that video in February. Oh no, I think it was actually March, but it was for the February ones. Anyway, it's now June, it's the 2nd of June, so I have now earned those, so I'll be talking to you about those. I've also got another library haul / one book I've borrowed, some sort of gifts to myself from Bookshopping Sprees, and I'm not going to be talking too much in detail about those because I did a whole vlog about that one in like 3 parts, because I can't edit it very well for long videos, so I can only do it in short ones because of the state of my technology, but I'll put the link when I talk about those to more detail should you want them. And I'm also going to be talking about a big pile of books where I've kind of got a bit rogue. So basically I have just bought books and not put them under my bed. So that's kind of the rogue part of that. And then I have some book boxes as well. I am going to be talking about more kind of my next steps in the Read What You Own challenge. That's inspired by Olly's Read What You Own challenge, but I've kind of adapted it as a way of me managing my book buying mixed with my reading. So I'm going to talk briefly about that, but I'm probably going to do a separate video to properly go into it. And I am going to be talking about how much of my book haul I am reading, because I think that's something I really want to start doing more of. That very much links to the Read What You Own challenge, but I have kind of more set goals with this. So grab a drink and I'm going to pop inside now. Okay, I'm back inside now, definitely suffering from hat hair. We've also been in the sea today as well because it's been really nice and warm, so we've had a day sort of like doing a little bit of bits and pieces at the beach, which was great, but I've literally just shoved my hair under a hat. And now it's not under a hat anymore because it feels weird to wear a hat inside, but hey ho. I also don't have my tiny teacups because they've I tidied up because we had people staying, so I tidied up a load of my stuff that's lying around and can't remember where I tidied my teacups to. They're in one of many drawers or cupboards, and I'm not quite ready to be like rummaging and unpacking everything. Been as most of my prep time for this is gathering together all the books I want to show you. So waffling has taken over. Anyway, I hope you've got a nice drink. I hope you're excited to hear about some books, and I'm going to show you what they all are. It feels weird to be drinking tea. I feel I should be drinking a colder drink, but I just really fancied some tea, so it's still tea. We're still going with the tea. Okay, the first pile of books I'm going to be talking about are all the books that I read, no, not I read, that I earned in March. So like I said, this is from doing a variety of different things, such as like trying to go to bed earlier, trying to eat more fruits and vegetables, trying to drink more water, all of those types of things. And the first book I earned in March was one that I really needed to read because I was reading it for middle grade March and doing a buddy read with Talia, and that is Keeper of the Lost Cities. I may have already unhauled it, I can't remember. I've either shoved it to a book stack that's sort of behind and I can't easily find it, or it's already been rehomed to a charity shop. I'm not sure. and I'm not too worried about it either. It's Keeper of Lost Cities by Shannon Messenger. It's a middle grade fantasy, and I did read it in March. If you're interested about hearing more of my thoughts on it, I will link the playlist to my Curiouser and Curiouser, which is my wrap up of books I do to a month. So you can find out more of my thoughts on there. But I think, Ben, as I've unfolded it, I think that says quite a lot. The second book I have yet to read, and it is Pet by Kòkú Àkànbí. I really hoped to read this for TRANSGIRL April, and it didn't happen, unfortunately. But I'm so excited about reading this. I really feel it's one of those books where you just hear, I haven't heard anyone say they didn't like it. I've always heard really, really, really good things about it. So it's kind of one of the ones that I'm waiting for that perfect reading moment for again, which I do a lot, and they don't exist, but I will read Pet when it's the right time for Pet, and I will have a wonderful time enjoying Pet. So I'm very excited to have hauled this and have this on my shelf instead of under my bed. So it's just a 2 in March. April fared a little better. I have 3 to share with you for April. The first being Break the Mold by Sinead Burke. This is a book that I grabbed from World of Books, specifically for the SPOONIES Readathon. It is a... It's not an autobiography, it's a factual book. What's that called? Non-fiction, thank you. This is a non-fiction book, and it's kind of sort of talking about what it's like to be disabled, and to not let society's view of disabled people feel like you can't achieve your dreams. So it's all about still continuing to do everything you want to do despite society's expectations of you. I'm really keen to read this, its own voices, and it just sounds really good. I haven't yet picked it up, but we'll see what happens. The next book is another book I've read, and that is Keedie by Elle McNichols. Keedie is sort of like a prequel to A Kind of Spark, and this is about Addie's older sister and sort of part of her life, and we just get to hang out with Keedie, see what it was like for her being in school, because we meet her in A Kind of Spark and she is at university. So I have already read this one. I have yet to film my wrap up, because this is part of the second part of my May wrap up, which I haven't yet filmed yet, but I did love this, so I was so excited. This was one of my pre-orders this year in my book buying goals. I think that's what I called it. I'll link it here. In that video, I spoke about the pre-orders I wanted to kind of have for this year, and this was one of them. And it did not spend very long under my bed at all. It was literally like, I need to earn this book. So this was definitely one of those books that spurred me on to be healthy, because I needed it to come out. The next book I have is also a middle grade one. May is all about the middle grade. And that is Kòkú Àkànbí and the Heart of Midnight by Maria Monteiro Abdebisi. I need to get better at pronouncing that name. This is fantasy, it's middle grade. Our protagonist has sickle cell, I don't know the right terminology. I feel disease is outdated and no longer used. Condition, possibly. Got sickle cell. So that affects his day-to-day life, his day-to-day living. And I do feel, it's not own voices, but I do feel the author has done a lot of research into this condition. She speaks about it in the foreword and the acknowledgements. I sometimes read those before I read the book to kind of get a gist of the story that the author is wanting to tell, and kind of what inspired this story coming into being. I haven't quite finished this yet, but I am currently reading it. So yeah, it was another book that I was really keen to kind of get out from under the bed and read. And if you've watched my May TBR, I did mention I had one book in the bank that I needed to earn and had yet to pick a book, and then this is a book that kind of came out of that. Okay, we're moving on to the books I earned in May. So those were April. So May, I also have 3 to talk about. I'm finding it
finding it a little bit harder to try and hit all my things for the healthy points, just because everything just seems to take up a load of time, and looking after myself takes up a lot of time, and I don't necessarily always want to prioritize that, because I could be reading, I could be doing other stuff with kind of this, when I have like my me time, there's lots of things I could be doing, and like prioritizing my own health needs is not necessarily top of my list, which is why this is good for me, because it is important to do that. Anyway, I did manage to get 3, so that's great. So the first one I have to talk about, again, we've got a lot of middle grade in here. I mean, I do enjoy a lot of middle grade, so it kind of makes sense. But I have Ikenga by Nnedi Okorafor. This is, I think, African futurism. That's what Nnedi Okorafor kind of like specializes in writing. So I think this is kind of possibly sci fantasy kind of feeling. But I can't wait to read some more Nnedi Okorafor. I absolutely adored the Binti trilogy from her, and I really loved Akata Witch that I read years ago. And I'm finally need to get around to finishing that series, like getting the first book and rereading and then finishing that series. Anyway, Ikenga. This is about a boy that has this sort of statue you can see in the illustration here. So we have the boy holding the statue, and then we have this kind of like large looming beast that's kind of like out of focus. You can't really see the details that you can on the statue and the boy in the center. But I'm not reading the synopsis because I like to go in knowing as little as possible about it. But from what I can recall, the statue has powers, and the boy uses the statue's powers to kind of call forth this kind of like super beast to like help out him in certain situations. Don't know any more than that. I don't need to know any more than that because it's Nnedi Okorafor, so I'm gonna be excited to read it. The next book I am hoping to read this month, so I definitely needed to haul it and was motivated to get hauling so that I can join in with the buddy read of Pages and Co. This is the second book. This is Tilly and the Lost Fairy Tales by Anna James. This was the last book that I managed to get hold of on World of Books. So I've since then bought them all out in hardback when they've come out and hoarded them. But this one I was delighted to find the hardback cover through World of Books. So we've got red end pages with this little sort of flower design, and then on the hardcover we have a whole host of like letters and like, no, they're not letters, extracts from fairy tales all over the book. And we've got things like Paper and Ink, Escape. We've got the Beanstalk from Jack and the Beanstalk. I presume that's Jack because he's got a chicken. We've got a book of fairy tales. We've got some, is that magic potion? What does it say? Book magic. We've got a potion bottle of book magic here. And then some ink splots and a bee on the spine. And then on the back, we've got some bears. We've got the shadow of a wolf. We've got this creepy figure that I pointed out from the first book. So I presume that's that same person. I now know who they are, but I won't say anything in case you haven't started this series and I don't want to spoil it. And it says, a bookshop is like a map of the world. And then we've got the words magic, imagination, and tales. So I love stuff underneath the dust jacket. It makes me very excited. And on the back of the dust jacket, let's call this, I love stuff on the back of the hard cover underneath the dust jacket. So on the back of the dust jacket, we've got the 3 bears, we've got a picnic basket, and we have the taglines, sometimes you have to get lost to find your way home. So I'm very intrigued to see where Tilly goes next with her book wandering, and what happens to her, and where the story goes. I had a great time reading the first book, Tilly and the Book Wanderers, and I'm very excited to be reading this one with some of my booktubery friends. So my final book that I allowed myself to earn in May, so when I'd checked in all the points, I also had read one of the secret projects. One of the Sanderson secret projects, I was not allowing myself to haul another secret project books from under a project book from under my bed until I had read one of the secret project books. Sadly, I did not enjoy the secret project book that I did read. However, did mean I could finally open another one. Hopefully I will have much better luck with Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. So I did sign up with the Kickstarter to get the hard copies with the beautiful artwork because I felt it was Brandon Sanderson and I felt I was just going to really enjoy myself. I'm hoping I do with the other 3. I'm slightly apprehensive now, especially because I was on I was watching a live show with Jack from Spreadbookjoy and Jem from Gem of Books and some others, and they spoke about how they did not enjoy Yumi and the Nightmare Painter. So I hope I enjoy it more than they did. But this, we have a navy blue hardcover. We've got some lovely blue and pink foiling. So the blue is kind of like what do you call it, like a feline, that one beginning with a C, that's that kind of tealy but brighter colour, and then the bright kind of pink. And we've got 2 characters reaching for each other, surrounded by the moon. A lot of people have said this is like manga inspired, so having not got on that well with the one manga book I read, I'm not sure how I'm going to feel about that, but hopefully it's just inspired, not just I think it was the formatting of the art that I didn't enjoy rather than the storytelling. Sanderson has written some another book that was very Asian inspired, the Emperor of the Lost Souls, something to do with an emperor, something to do with souls. It's a novella. Hold on one moment. Sorry, that was the door. So, I think I was briefly describing the cover. Down the side, we've just got, again, the pinks and pinky bluey colours and the title in foiling stuff. On the back, we've got more of the sort of fiery, painty swirls, with a circle in the middle with some writing in the side and then some little starry dots around it. And it says, "A person is more than their experiences stacked up like stones. Our best moments are the foundations we use to reach for the sky." And then on the inside of the dust jacket, we've got this really nice Japanese artwork here. It looks like bamboos and a sun all done in these really lovely inks. And the back cover, similar kind of style with the inky swirls, but we have a girl with really long dark hair sat in a tree. The tree has got sort of blossoms flowering around it, and we have a sun in the background, and it's all done in black and white. And again, it's this kind of inky style. I don't know if this is Yumi or if this is the painter. I have no idea. I also have the sticker that came with it. So we've got the pink and blue colours, and we have got sort of, it looks like tree foliage, but it could also look like writing as well. And we've got this side profile of a woman with swirling hair. Again, could be Yumi, could be the Nightmare Painter, I'm not sure. But we do have some more artwork inside. So we have a lot of use of the pink and blue colours that I've already mentioned. So we have like an illustrated version of the front cover, just done in various different shades of the blues and pinks. So the 2 characters reaching for each other. And then we have, going through some acknowledgements, we've got slightly more of like a sci-fi-esque part 1, done in pinks and blues, and we've got 2 lines going down with semicircles kind of apart from each other, with part sort of like taken as though it's the word as part of the semicircle. So it's like you've got the semicircle, then that line joins on to right part, and then carry on with the semicircle, and then one on the other semicircle. So it kind of looks a little bit futuristic, which is slightly different to kind of the vibe of all the very kind of more lyrical ink drawings that you've got at the front or back. It feels a lot kind of more harsher and clear cut. And then the chapters have got, again, this kind of ink drawing Japanese style with the bamboo, and it says chapter 1, and the 1 is centered in what could be a full moon or it could be a sun. I'm saying moon rather than anything else. And it comes with this sparkly bookmark. Let me show you. So the girl on the back cover in the inky drawings is now in full painted colours in kind of like pink blossomy tones, and we have sort of her sitting in the tree, and then on the other side we have a completely different angle, so it's like a wide lens panoramic landscape of the girl in the tree, and then we have another character's back of the head in the left hand corner kind of looking up at her in the tree, and again it's this kind of pinky colours. So it's very, very pretty, and I am very excited definitely by the artwork. I hope I feel excited by the story. I have heard, so you've got some illustrated pages in here. Sorry, let me find another one for you. So again, we've gone back to the inks and the inky painting of a character. It looks like the back of the head character from the bookmark, gazing up into some bamboos there. So there is drawings throughout the book, which I'm very excited about. And hopefully I will be excited about the story as well. I have heard from, I know some people this was their favourite secret project. For some people it was Tress, for some people it was this one. So I'm going to think positive. And it is very, very beautiful. So hopefully I will enjoy it. I think I just need a little bit of space after my previous experience. Anyway, that's my haul for everything I have earnt. So in September 2023, I started the Read What You Own challenge that is usually done by Olly in the month of November. I remembered taking part from last year, and I felt September for me is kind of like my sorting organisational month. It's our school terms beginning, so I kind of like to try and organise my books a little bit more, make myself a little bit more accountable for everything that's on my shelves, and kind of assess where I am with my book collecting and how I'm doing with reading my own personal library. I definitely like to have a range of books that I read from and a lot of choice and possibility on my shelves, as well as seeing old favourites and ones that I want to reread and books that I've loved and had beautiful experiences from. But I also need to be able to fit the books on the shelves. So trying to balance that juggle and looking at and one of the ways was doing the Read What You Own. I originally chose to do I wanted to do, was it 35 books before the Boxing Day sale, but that didn't happen, so I changed it to 25 and then kind of pushed it to 40 for afterwards. So I did get to my 2 books, so I got to 25 and got 2 of my 4 books for the Boxing Day sale, and then I didn't let myself have the other 2 until I reached 40 books, and I'm pleased to tell you that in March I did manage to finish, and I did manage to get to 40 books. If you can see here, I also have, like, every time I read a 5, I've got a book in a drawer. So this was because last time I did this, I failed and bought a load of books, and then to kind of hold myself more accountable, I wasn't allowed to earn those books. They had to go in a different drawer, and then when I'd read 5 books, I was allowed to move one of those books into the drawer that I could earn from, just to make it extra complicated because it's fun. Now all of those books are now fully in my drawer, so I haven't got any secret books that I can't access anymore. I am fully able to, if I've earned a book, if I've got enough points to earn a book, I can pick whatever book I like out from my under the bed stash. So I have now completed this, and I am going to be I have started doing another Read What You Own style challenge from May, but I'm going to talk about that in another video. So I'm just going to show you the 2 books that I gave to myself as prizes for completing the Read What You Own challenge. So for me, it was once I'd read 10, I could give myself a book as a gift for reading 10 books, but I'd bank them until I finished the challenge. Except I ended up doing it 2 for when I hit 25 books, and then 2 for when I finished at 40. So the first one is Sisters of the Lost Marsh by Lucy Strange. I think I actually got this one from World of Books rather than buying it new, and such an amazing copy because it has got French flaps and it was just really beautiful condition. Like, look at that spine, there is no cracking down there. I really love the cover we have on this. It's sort of like a pea green with sort of rose pinks and sort of other kind of like yellow tones kind of added into it, and darker green, sort of more of a like a sea marsh dark weedy green which doesn't sound great, but it is very pretty. And so I love this whole feeling. I love the isolation in this, the slightly creepy spooky element to this all. I love the sisters on the front ready to stand against whatever's coming at them. So yeah, this was a beautiful copy that I wasn't expecting. I just wanted a copy of the book, and this is such a lovely copy. I have since been in Waterstones looking at other Lucy Strange books going, there's no French flaps on this one. Why is she not given more French flaps? I love a French flap. Anything for extra artwork is brilliant. So this one I have now read, which is marvellous. Yeah, really so pleased that I bought this one. Now really want to get the rest of Lucy Strange's works. And my second book, so the final book of the 4, was also a pre-order. So I did get this from Waterstones, and I did order it in the January sales, and when it came in I didn't access it until I had finished. I put my books to one side. And this is Solitaire by Alice Oseman. It is the new editions where they've got her artwork on the front rather than just having a big colour block with some white and black illustration kind of pulled out. So this is full colour, it's Alice Oseman's artwork. We have got Tori, the main character, on the front, and then some of her school fellows in the background. And the school appears to be on fire. We've got this blazing red coming off it, and then we have the same blazing red and orange down the edges here. So it has sprayed edges, it's hardback, and there's no dust jacket, it's straight onto the hardback, and we've got red end pages. This is also a slightly more up-to-date version. Alice Oseman did edit and kind of change slightly her work on Solitaire because she was very young when she wrote it, and there were things, she's progressed a lot as a writer and wanted to make some changes. I'm so excited to read this, have yet to read it. So those were my 2 extra gifts. I am now going to talk you through very briefly the books that I acquired when I went on a book shopping trip. I have I've much more thoroughly documented this in my bookshop crawl, the booktuber meetup in March in London. So I will leave a link to the first video here so you can hear a little bit more about the books and see what one of my edited videos looks like. There's 3 and they're small because I can't edit for more than like 10-15 minutes. I don't want to push it. I've got an editing program on my phone, but it's supposed to be for small videos. So I was slightly apprehensive when I uploaded one that was like 15 minutes that was too much for it, because it was supposed to be 10-minute videos. So I don't want to push it with the editing. Also, it takes forever. So continuous shot works much better for me, although it does mean you get excessive amounts of waffle. So I hauled 7 books from this shopping trip. I have a Little World Book Day book, Onyeka and the Secret Superhero by Tola Okagowu, which is book 2.5 in the Onyeka series. I have another middle grade. This one is by Catherine Doyle, and it is The Stormkeeper's Island, which is the first book in that series. I have a picture book. This is The Woodcutter and the Snow Prince, which is written by Ian Eagleton and illustrated by David Ortu. I have another middle grade. It is The Secrets of Haven Point by Lisette Orton. I have an adult book now. I have The Kingdom of Copper by S.A. Chakraborty. This is book 2 in the Daevabad trilogy, and it is an adult fantasy. I also hold a non-fiction, He, She, They by Shaila Bela, How We Talk About Gender and Why It Matters. And finally, I have an adult sci-fi, which is The Principles of Moments by Esme Jinkyum Pearson. I'm now going to talk to you about written gifts. Where are written gifts? Have I got? No, just looking at my book piles on my bed. There's no more. So yeah, this is my library. We're going to do my library haul now. So I've got 5 books out from the library. Some of them you may have heard me talk about before. I've not done a massive haul recently because I'm trying to actually read the books off my shelf now. I'm trying to restrain it a little bit. And then I do have one book that I have borrowed from my mum as well. So books that I've probably already spoken to you about. I have Gender Games by Juno Dawson. The Gender Games. The Problem with Men and Women from someone who has been both. So Juno Dawson is a trans woman. I adore her Majesty's Royal Coven series. I have also read This Book is Gay by her as well, so I'm very keen to read another non-fiction. This is sort of slightly autobiographical whilst she is talking about gender. So I'm very keen to read this one. It's also one of my magical readathon prompts as well. I have started She, He, They, Them, Understanding Gender Identity, which is one of the books I got out of the library for TRANSGIRL April, and it was one of the books that I got from the children's section. So this is sort of like a YA non-fiction. It's got a lot of different headings and things in it. It's thin, kind of like a paper book style, with photographs and stuff. So we'll see how I carry on with that one. And I also have Beyond Magenta, the Transgender Teens Speak Out, which is photography and interviews written by Susan Kirkland. This is one of the books for the Banned Books Challenge that MJ is leading, 24 and 24 Reading Rebellion. I have committed to reading 6 banned books this year and kind of doing individual videos about those particular books. So this is the next one I'm going to be doing on that. And then I have 2 middle grade, because of course I do. I think I had this one out last time. I have since taken it back to the library because I didn't get around to reading it, but I do really, really want to read it. And I'm starting to pull books in, ready for Journeyathon in July. And this is The Boy Who Fell from the Sky by Benjamin Dean. I've enjoyed other Benjamin Dean books. This is a sci-fi, which is a different genre for him, so I'm keen to see what this one is like. I also have one I'm really excited about that I had to knock off my pre-order list because there was I was kind of tossing between 2 different pre-orders, and in the end I went for one that is coming out in September because I really want to read that, and I've got some plans set up for buddy reading this as kind of like a bit of a book club thing coming up in September. So, and I also saw this in the library and thought I could just get it now from the library. So this is Ember Spark and the Thunder Dragons by Abby Elphinstone. I love Abby Elphinstone's Unmapped Chronicles series, so I'm so excited to read another Abby Elphinstone book, and it's got dragons in, so this sounds really, really exciting, and I may end up getting myself a copy at some point. So those are the books at the library currently, and then I have borrowed another book from Mum. I took back Feet of Clay and got the next in the Watch series from her personal library. This is Jingo by Terry Pratchett. And I think I've only read it once, so I'm excited to give this one a reread at some point. So I've now got a pile of books which I've called Going Rogue. So these are books I didn't put under my bed to earn, basically, but I bought them. Yeah. Sorry, another interruption. Again, not sure what my train of thought was, so I'm just going to go back into it. These are books that I did not put under my bed to earn. I just put them straight on my shelf. So this is why it's my rogue pile. So I'm going to do the most recent one first of all. I have done my final pre-order of my 10 books for the year. I was kind of holding off because I wasn't sure if certain books were going to get sprayed edges, and they didn't seem to be having that part of the book when I was looking, but Waterstones did do a double points offer, so I just pre-ordered everything that was left to pre-order, and And as I was doing that, I spotted that they had this. It's Another World Book Day book. It's £1. This was from a few years ago, 2022. So this was from a couple of years ago, and I obviously missed it then. This is an extra little book in the High Rise Mysteries by Shana Jackson. I really loved High Rise Mystery and Mic Drop, which was the second book. So this is about two twin sisters who live in the Heights, in their tower block, and they do lots of observing of their neighbours and the goings on, and from that they ended up solving a couple of murders. So this one, they've gone on a field trip. They've gone to the Peak District and having a break from mystery solving apparently, but apparently a mystery has come to find them. So this is just a little book for £1. So I just thought I'm just going to put it straight on my shelf. So this is just an extra from my pre-order. None of the other books have come in because they're all pre-orders, but this one did. So I thought I'm just gonna pop it straight on my shelf. So there's that one. The next one is a book from a library. So often libraries do sales where they sell off some of the books they no longer want to have on their shelves anymore. I feel like I am doing a public service of rescuing books. I feel hurt on their behalf that the library no longer wants to have them. And there's particular titles that I think are great. But it has worked out in my favour, because one of the books on the shelves was one that I borrowed from the library anyway. I went and found in sort of one of the more central libraries, and then I saw it being sold in a different library, and so I took my library copy back and kept this one. So this is Phoenix Goes to School. It is a non-fiction picture book. It is a sort of memoir, but it reads like fiction, and it's the story of starting school. Phoenix is a transgender girl. She's gender non-conforming, and she wanted to write a book with her mum to in case there were any other children out there who felt like her, and she wanted to reassure them that it can be okay. So this is her story, and I think it's a really nice book. So I now have my own copy, so that's excellent. Another library sale book I found is one that I've heard really good things of, but I have so many middle grade on my list. But when I saw it, I was like, well, it needs to come home with me right now, especially because it was the book in the middle grade March. Booktubers saying their favourite books that would fit some of the prompts that they think people should read. This is the one that Jack from spreadbookjoy spoke about, and it is The Midnight Guardians by Ross Montgomery. And it says, sometimes at the darkest hour, hope shines the brightest. It is set in World War II. There is a fantastical element because they are riding on top of a tiger. So it's a mixture of historical fiction and fantasy, and just hearing Jack talk about it made me want to pick the book up. So when I saw it in the library sale, I was like, well, I immediately need that one then, don't I? And this also felt very much like a book rescue, because it's a hardback copy of a book that my mum absolutely loved, and I was planning to borrow from her anyway, but I thought it would be rude not to rescue and own. It is a non-fiction book called Bookworm by Lucy Mangan, and it is a memoir of childhood reading. My mum spoke to me over the phone, spoke to me while she was reading this, and quoted bits of this book to me. So it's just one of those lovely books where, as an avid reader, you love hearing other readers talk about loving books. And it's got a beautiful front cover with a tree going up the side, and its branches kind of taking up kind of half the book page. At the bottom is a silhouette of a girl sat in the grass reading the book with her back resting against the tree, and in the tree we have got some ballet shoes, a witch's hat, a horseshoe, a clock, an owl, a cat, a teddy bear, a teacup, a mouse in a cloak, a robin, a key, a ladybird, a needle with in a thin roll of cotton, and a bottle with a spoon, and a spider web, and there's some gold foiling on the front as well, and it just looks lovely. Oh, and on the back we've got a tree again with some different things. We've got a paint pot, a necklace with a heart shape on it, a sort of a long thin trumpet with music notes coming out of it, a stripy black and white hat, a teapot, a bird with a golden beak, a chocolate bar, a pie, and a black and white striped tie, and a sword. and a rabbit at the bottom of the tree hopping off. Some of these I think I can guess what books they come from that would be part of your childhood reading. Others I'm slightly stumped by. And on the spine we've got the silhouette of the girl reading, and we've got Bookworm in bronze foiling, and I just think it's so pretty. Nothing particularly exciting on the dust jacket. It is just sort of a brown, sort of a autumn rust brown, and then we've got the library big massive stamp that says withdrawn. But I'm very excited about reading this. I think it's going to be a really cozy one, and Mum loved it, so that's always a recommendation. I now have 2 books from my little, I have finished my Read What You Own challenge, and there's a book I want to buy, and I've been on World of Books, and I've also found some other books as well. But these are rereads, so that's why they didn't go under the bed, because I don't tend to like pull out, unless it's a really specific copy, I don't really tend to pull out rereads or be excited to pull out rereads, so I just wanted them on my shelves. So the first one is Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry by Mildred D. Taylor, a story of courage, love and pride. It says an unforgettable Logan family story. So Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry was the first book that Mildred D. Taylor published, the first novel. She might have done a novella first. And then there are, I think, either 8 or 10 novels and novellas in the Logan family saga, of which I want to read all of them. But it's going to take me a while to save up to buy the whole set, because I want the whole set in a matching set. And for some reason, the UK does not do that. I can only get that in America, so I am going to have to Amazon it from America. But it's going to be a lot of money all in one go. So I was hoping to kind of keep just chipping away and buying a book here and there, but it's not going to happen. But I wanted a copy of Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry, so this was being sold on World of Books, so I was like, I'll just pick it up as I'm buying a few other ones anyway. And then the final book I have to share with you is one of my favourite books, and I now have this in hardback. This is Zen Cho's Sorcerer to the Crown, English Magic Faces Its Darkest Hour. I love Zen Cho. I think she writes such funny stories with really strong characters. They're really witty. I just love her pacing of the stories. I find it really engaging. Sorcerer to the Crown was the first book of hers that I read, and I absolutely loved it. Fell completely in love with her protagonist. And I'd been eyeing up this copy for a long time. I'd been seeing in World of Books there was a hardback. There was a hardback for Sorcerer to the Crown. I have a paperback copy. I also have a rather mangled paperback copy. So it's been such a treat to give myself the hardback copy with its gold foiling all over it. It's very, very lovely. And again, we've got a withdrawn from the library stamp in here. We've got a black cover with Sorcerer to the Crown written in gold foiling. Nothing particularly exciting. It's got black end pages. Nothing else particularly exciting. It's just books feel nice when they're in a hardback. I just love that knock feeling, and just the feeling of just opening the pages and just having that weighty feel in your hand. So yeah, and it just makes me happy to have a copy of a book I love in a really nice book. So there we go. That is my going rogue pile of books. So I'm just going to talk through the book boxes that I have. So the book boxes I get are Shelterbox and Fairyloot. And it just feels like a real treat to just get things in the post and you're just not sure what's going to be in them, so it feels really exciting. With Shelterbox you get a book every 6 weeks. They do have a set price you pay to be part of the Shelterbox book club, but you can pay more than that because your money is going towards the charity Shelter that support all around the world. They have lots of different projects going on when there's been a humanitarian crisis, whether that's through natural disaster or through war. And it's just providing families and peoples the ability to have somewhere to like call a home, to be able to rest your head, to be able to feel safe, to be able to feel sheltered. And I just think it's a really nice charity, and I just love the way they do that. In terms of the book club, I would love to be more involved, but I just can't commit to reading the book on time. But they have a Facebook page where you can chat about the book as you go. They have a live show that you can either join in as a person or you can just watch in the chat. And they often have a question and answer session with the author of the book as well. And the books, again, they're from all over the world. Some are translated, and you can vote on which book you want to be the book for that month, and whoever gets the highest vote wins. I don't do that because I would feel disappointed if the book that I wanted wasn't the one that was chosen. So I'm just quite happy to just receive a mystery book and not know what it's going to be. So I have got, so because it's 6 weeks, I don't always have 3 to show you, but I do this month. So I got one in March that was Before the Queen Falls Asleep. This is by Huzama Habayeb. And it says the winner of the Naguib Mahfouz Medal for Literature. I really love the front cover. We have got a woman being hugged by another woman, and it's like a proper full-on hug with the head resting on the head and the arm round, and it just feels very beautiful. The woman being hugged has got quite sorrowful eyes with some tears glistening in them, and then her top has got lots of bright sort of colours on it, and it's a very kind of like painted style. I think you kind of get it on like a lot of kind of like in kind of churches where you have like the paintings done on wood. It's that kind of paint, if that makes sense. This is why I'm not an art critic, but I really enjoy what the front cover looks like. I will read the blurb for these because I am rubbish at giving any kind of synopsis to the story. Born a girl to parents who expected a boy, Jihad grows up treated like the eldest son, wearing boys' clothes and sharing the financial burden of head of the household with her father. Now middle-aged, Jihad tells her daughter a story from her life each night. As Malenka prepares to leave home to attend university abroad, her mother revisits the past of their Palestinian family, tenderly describing their life in exile in Kuwait and her own experiences of love and loss as she grows up. Huzma Haib weaves a richly observed and affectionate portrait of a family displaced from their homeland and of the women at its heart, women with too much to do, too many mouths to feed, too many thwarted dreams. Told with humour and poise, this is a story of the love and betrayal that pursues Jihad and her family from Kuwait to Jordan to Dubai. Very keen to read this one. I think it sounds like a really heartwarming story. I love an intergenerational story, and it feels like there's a really nice woven narrative of it. So I'm very excited for this one. But I need to be in the right place for it. We'll see when I get to it. Very different kind of vibe. We then for April got Side Splitter by Phil Wang. It says how to be from 2 worlds at once. I have not yet read this, but I definitely really want to read this. I very enjoy Phil Wang as a comedian, and I was actually quite excited when I got this, and I went and showed my husband, and he was like, oh, can you put it on my pile to read when you finish? And I was like, do we know when I'm going to get to this? You read it first. So he has, and he really enjoyed it. He mentioned that it does talk about like, when is cultural appropriation, when is it, is it ever okay, what defines it, and kind of exploring that, as well as exploring, I think explored colonialism in here as well. Anyway, he said it was a really good read, so I'm looking forward to reading this one as well. And then I don't know what's in. I was gonna open it. So I've been saving these parcels. I've been away, and I've been saving these parcels for when I came back, and I never got around to opening them. So I thought, oh, I'll just enjoy it. But then I really wanted to do this video, and I was like, well, I'll wait until the end and then open them. And I was like, why don't I just open them? So I started, but I haven't like finished pulling it out yet. I was like, I'll do an opening. I don't usually do like book openings. This one's hardback. We don't get hardbacks. I'm highly intrigued. We don't get hardbacks, we only get paperbacks. Okay, so I've got the Shelterbox. Oh, they've given me 2, so I've got an extra one. We've also got Beyond the Box magazine. I think you get this every quarter. So this is just more detail of the work that they are doing, so you can read more about what Shelter does. In the Shelter Club, you get information about the author and the book, and then you get information about a project that kind of links to the story slightly that they're currently working on. Wow. So here we go. This is the book for this month. This is Niece Lenget with Elizabeth Butler Witter. The Girls in the Wild Fig Tree. How I Fought to Save Myself, My Sister, and Thousands of Girls Worldwide. This sounds like it might be slightly harrowing. An inspirational story of one girl who changed the minds of her elders, reforming traditions from the inside, and is creating a better future for girls and women throughout Africa. This sounds really good. I'm already feeling a little bit emotional reading it. We've got artwork of, I don't know if it's pronounced nice or niece or something completely different. Lenget on the front. We've got a portrait of her from facing forward, and then we've got a profile picture of her standing sort of amid her homeland. So we've got very powerful kind of landscape scenes behind her, and she is in traditional dress. I'm not sure what part of Africa she is coming from, but she has got beautiful kind of beaded choker, and then a further kind of ring beaded necklace, and then a big sort of more collar necklace going on in lots of beads, with some silver discs dangling from them, and these beads and silver discs kind of adorning in kind of drips and patterns over her top and shoulders. It just looks beautiful. I am very excited to read this. It's Kenya. Born in a remote village in Kenya, Niece Lenget saw the young girls she grew up with receive the cut. I thought it might be about, yeah. So this is about this is about genitalia mutilation. A term that is sometimes used completely out of context. This is not. This is used in context, not out of context, inappropriately, incorrectly. So female genitalia mutilation is sometimes called female circumcision, and it is where they cut the clitoris and the labia, and sometimes they will sew up the vagina a little bit as well. It's horrific. It's so horrific. We have a lot of safeguarding training on this, and there are certain parts of the world where it's tradition, not by everyone, and it's often done by the women and the older women, and it's seen as an important part of growing up as a woman, but it's kind of tends to come from patriarchy and things like that, and it's a form of physical abuse. It's mutilation. It's completely illegal in many countries, and I think this is going to be an incredibly powerful story about this girl speaking out against it. I'm not going to continue reading the blurb. She saw the young girls she grew up with receive the cut, the rite of passage into female adulthood in the Maasai culture. Every girl got the cut, and once you did, you'd be married off to a man triple your age. You might be his second or third wife. You'd have children in your teens. This is exactly what happened to Niece's sister. To resist the cut meant becoming an outcast in Maasai culture, yet Niece managed to avoid it and stay in school. It was not an easy time. She was shunned. At the age of 21, Niece moved to Nairobi to work for RWYO Health Africa, an organisation spearheading the campaign against female genitalia mutilation. Though she was still considered an outcast in her village, even an entape, someone who brought shame to her family, young girls began to look up to Niece. They saw the life they could have, not the one chosen for them. Eventually, thanks to a combination of incredible instincts and excellent training and leading by example, Niece Lenget developed a platform for convincing women across Africa to forego the cut. First, she won over her village elders. It spread from there. Kenya outlawed the cut in 2011, and the Maasai people abandoned it in 2014. To date, Niece and RWYO Health Africa have collaborated to help more than 16,000 girls avoid FGM, that's female genitalia mutilation, in Kenya and Tanzania. Oh my god, that's so powerful. You know, you just read about someone and you just think what you've done is incredible, and it just, I don't know, it just makes you think about how you think something's not possible and that you're not going to be able to make a change and make a difference, and you hear so many of these inspiring stories. Kind of feel like I want to abandon all my reading plans and read this book. Well, I was not expecting to get so emotional from opening a book box. Oh, what's under the dust jacket? So under the dust jacket, it's a grey cover, and then in gold we've got the girls in the wild fig tree. This looks amazing. And this is the reason why I continue to get Shelterbox, even though I think some of the books might not be for me, because it's a challenge to myself, and then occasionally there's these books that just sound amazing. So there we go. That was May's book from Shelterbox Book Club. If you're interested in joining Shelterbox Book Club, I will leave the link to the Shelterbox website in the description box, so you can have read more about it and see if it's going to be a book club for you and if it's a charity that you want to get involved with. Okay, less emotional now. Moving on to Fairyloot. So the March Fairyloot book I was so excited by, because this was a book that was on my possible pre-order books, but I was holding off hoping that maybe Fairyloot would get this, and they did. And that is A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal. I haven't read a book by Hafsa Faisal, but I have heard of her other duology, and it has piqued my interest, but I haven't got, pardon me, round to reading it. This is a Fairyloot cover. Have I? I should have. Yes, I do. I've got this picture of the UK cover. So we have I'd say Victorian or Edwardian looking male attire on our female protagonist, who has got a short kind of chin length bob, and she's wearing a flat cap, a kind of Peaky Blinders flat cap, and she's holding a teacup, and out of the teacup is pouring blood. And sort of in her sort of silhouette of her suit, you are seeing kind of like this urban like city sort of behind her, and then you've got the steam of the tea kind of sweeping around her. On the Fairyloot cover, we just have lots of orange and reds of the tea. We have this golden teapot, and inside is a drop of blood, and it is sort of like fading into the hot steam of water there, which is really cool. Then on the back, you've got a couple of characters looking out over the city. I love that on the end pages on the flap, we've got this red and gold, and we've got this foiling of a pistol. And on the other side, we have foiling of an umbrella, both of which are significant in the book. I have read this one. Underneath the dust jacket of the Fairyloot book, we have got a sort of burgundy, and then we've got gold foiling of a teacup with a little bit of blood kind of dripping over the side, and some steamy teeness. And then on the back, we have got the teapot. And then the end pages are beautiful. We've got a whole cast of characters here. This is kind of what I would say they're day wear. So we have a pale male character with long dark hair and a frilled shirt, a pale male character very much in white with a cat. Here is our protagonist. This is Arthi. So she's in her she's in her peaked cap, rocking the kind of Edwardian gentleman look with a pistol holster, and she has got purple hair. We then have a kind of a cheeky lounging character with black hair and in black, and then we have this is Flick. She has got woman's Edwardian attire on with a lilac berry. She is black, and it's sort of just covering her hair slightly. And then on the back, we have got the same characters but dressed completely differently. So everyone is slightly more dressed up for a party. And then on the sprayed edges, we have got these orange on the top and the bottom, and then up the side we have got the teacup with the drop of blood distilled in it, just like the teapot on the front cover, and we have got a swirl of red of the steaming of the tea. So yeah, I have read this. It was a lot of fun. Again, you will hear more about it when I do my May wrap up for the second part of the month, which I have yet to do. So that was that Fairyloot book, and I was very, very excited to get hold of it and had a great time reading it. Just putting all my bits and pieces in the back. The April book also looks incredibly beautiful. This is by June C.L. Tan, and it is called Darker by 4. We have got 2 silhouettes of hands reaching out towards each other, and there is, it's hard to tell, but there is some kind of connection. It's either thread or blood with like a little star in between the two. I think it's thread because we've got these red ribbons at other points, but we've got dark blues into purples and then kind of a lighter sort of paler blue and some stars, but they're very kind of beautifully decorated stars, kind of like star lanterns that you'd get in different golds sort of around each other. There's lots of kind of kaleidoscopy patterns, and there's butterflies, and then you get a similar sort of, the thing kind of carries on around the back, around the spine and onto the back. And it says, the boy straightens and looks up at the flickering stars in heaven. Then he steps forward to the edge of the parapet, puts one foot out in the air and disappears. Very magical, it sounds like. And the sprayed edges are just the best. We have got butterflies with black and purple and sort of pinky wings with golden sort of outlines. We've got, can't tell if it's like a door or pillars or elaborate book spines at the top in sort of blues and whites, and then we go down into like swirly purpley patterns where the butterflies are, and some other pink and gold splodgy swirly bits around it. I'm doing great description, aren't I? This one has an alternative dust jacket. I find it really weird that the one book I would love an alternative dust jacket on, which was The Tempest of Tea, because I'm so pleased that I have, I didn't get the postcard. I didn't get the postcard in the book. I got this at Yalk. But I love this front cover that you get on the UK edition. So it's a completely different front cover for Fairyloot. But I've got other covers where I just don't care that much. So this is the alternative cover. I don't know which is the right way around. I think this was I think this could have been the original cover, and this is the alternative. I love the one that I've just described to you because there's too many people on the front of this one. I don't mind like a silhouette or a hint of a person, but I don't like it when it is proper, here's a person on your book. So yeah, I think this is the generic cover that you get. So it says Darker by 4, and you've got a protagonist with 2 swords in her hand, a male character to one side, at least I don't know the gender of them. You've got a character wearing a hoodie to one side with short hair. You've got another character with short hair but sort of cut slightly differently in a off the shoulder top and a vest, showing some tattoos. I do like how the word 4 is kind of merged around the sword, like it's been melted by it. But other than that, really not a fan of it. Like, there's nothing wrong with the artwork, I just don't like it on my cover. I do like the back where it's a silhouette of people and you've got lanterns above them and sort of like a town feeling. So this feels like another like urban fantasy kind of vibe. You've got the same quote on the back as well. Yeah, I think this is definitely the way the cover was supposed to be, and I have turned it around to the alternative. So I love the alternative cover for this one. I love the naked hardback as well. It's beautiful. So we've got purples and blues again, and we've got Darker by 4 in the middle in a sort of like a 4. I guess it's sort of a flowery shape, but it's got like maybe more like a 4-leaf clover, and then there's butterflies around it. And then on the back we have got this lovely kind of Chinese style pagoda, where it kind of the edges of the roof kind of lift up, and there's several layers and going up to a point, and it kind of looks like a little bit of like a moon and like cloudy bits around it. We've got character art on the end pages. I have no idea who any of these are, and the same on the back. Very different kind of feelings to both of them. So we've got a character in kind of more formal cultural dress, and then we've got a couple of characters in suits, and then on the back we've got what looks like 2 kids in schoolwear, 2 teenagers in schoolwear, and one in their pajamas who's got a ghost earring, which I think is quite cool. So I don't really know what to expect from this book. It might be amazing, it might be not my thing. I do not know. And again, I don't know what the May Fairyloot book is, so I'm going to open it now. I've already opened the box. I'm not doing an unboxing. There's lots of other people that do fabulous unboxing Fairyloot videos. I think this is a dark academia from the vibe it gave me, which may or may not work for me because I'm not renowned for dark academia reading. Okay, there's the bookmark. So we have got... So we have a blonde character, blonde male character, wearing some rather large glasses. So that's going with the whole dark academia vibes. Everyone reads books and wears glasses. And he appears to be, there's some sort of shadow that appears to be, appears to have a smoking shadow attached to him around his neck and around his arms. I have no idea what's going on there. So let me get the book out. It is, oh, it looks, oh, I'm quite enjoying the side of the spine. Oh, it looks like a proper old book. So it's got this like reddy colour to it, with gold foiling around the edges, and it says The Temptation of Magic by Megan Scott. Not heard of that. Sworn to be enemies, destined to be each other's undoing. He was an imperial, her greatest threat and her greatest fascination. Everything shared being warned against, and yet she wanted him still. Doesn't make me want to read it, sadly. I'm enjoying the fieriness on the side of the book. Still not got the foggiest about what this is. Okay, it's got some supernatural. We've got a girl looking around a art gallery here. And on the back pages, the same with a male character. And we have an alternative dust jacket. Here we go. This feels much more fantasy romance than the other two did. They felt much more fantasy with a romantic side plot, which is how I prefer it. So yeah, I'm not sure if this one is going to be for me, but I do think the book cover is very pretty. And underneath the dust jacket, we've got like this old-fashioned frame in an oval with the book title in the middle. And then on the back, we've got various different frames with a typewriter, a teapot, a vase of flowers, a skull, a candle, an inkwell, some teacups and some books. All of which individually I find rather cool, but I'm not sure if this book is going to be for me. But there we go. There is my whole big haul. So one new thing that I'm wanting to do now with my seasonal haul videos is talk to you about how much of my book hauls I am actually reading. So I started to focus a little bit more on my book haul goals. So I can't remember when it was, but at some point I made the new goal that by June, where we're in it, yeah, by the end of June, I want to have read 25% of each of my past year's book hauls. So the books that I've got left, I'd like to have read 25% of that. So that's my books from 2021, 2022 and 2023. For 2024, I'd like to have read a third of my book haul by the end of June. So we'll see how it goes. I will let you know how all that stands in my end of year freakout tag as to how I'm doing with my hauls. But I have got some stats for you from March. So in March, so by the end of March 2024, I had read 9.37% of my 2024 haul. A lot of work to do to get that to a third by June. I have made progress. So I am now on, I'm now on 21.2%. So I still need to do a bit more, but that's a lot better. That's double what it was. So, and it did look a lot better before I put May's books on here, but hey ho. So I'm going to keep working on that and hopefully get it to a third. For 2023 of that book haul at the end of March, I'd read 15.2% I've now read 17.39%. So slow improvement, but we're still quite far off 25. My 2022 haul, I read 10.2%. I've now read 16.32%. So again, improvement, but still a long way off 25.